Hey,
Hey Mark, how's it going?
how you doing?
Good.
So we're gonna do another episode, what I've been calling kind of straight talk, kind of stuff that we encounter in our weeks. You're busy, I'm busy with certain things. And I think this is valuable information because there's usually things that, you know, pop up that we normally don't see. And so I think it's a great discussion. I think it's another good piece of education for people to see what we do behind the scenes and why we're doing this and just putting it on the table. So I'll start with my week. Firmed up a deal on Friday, um, which was good. The build, it was a newer build, so people bought it in 2021, closed it April of this year. So when you're doing those new builds, there's so many things with PDI issues of not being done, or where there's driveways not done, or the grade.
Okay. Tell people what PDI is.
You're doing a walkthrough. You're doing a walkthrough from the house and looking at any issues in the house. It could be
Nail pops.
nail pops. It could be, oh, and this one, there was some scratch cupboards. It's an inspection, basically. It could be, oh, scratch windows or a big dent in the garage we saw. We saw the steps when we were walking up to are very wobbly. So little things like this, it's going, oh my God, there's 25 issues. Like, whoa, we need some information on this stuff. So it was good, right? But those, we typically do resale properties, right? We're not in the new build. And of course, we're seeing some new builds coming up in different communities because they were bought in 22, 21. Now they're getting done, etc. But there's lots of unanswered questions. So I put a solicitor clause in there because just another set of eyes looking at the offer, right? There was a bunch of easements on there. Of course, when we go to Geo, we can't see them. Yeah, spend the 50 or 60 bucks. Let's see what they are so we can communicate to our client effectively what they were. Typically, it was a townhouse, so we saw, right of ways for because they're a mid-unit walking through the person's yard, which is pretty common. A lot of utility ones, builder ones that will drop off, encroachments of the roof. So pretty basic, but this buyer was a new buyer, so I thought, what, that's some good education, so he understands what an easement was. Lawyer wasn't worried about it. I wasn't worried about it, but I think it was good communication. But here's one thing that I want to bring to people's attention. And if you are selling a new home or, thinking of buying something, definitely put in a solicitor clause because this came up, it just more protected the buyer. I'm going to read it to you and then I'll kind of go through it. So the lawyer sent this back to us, says prior to closing, in addition to obligations set out in section 12 herein, prior to closing, the seller's solicitor is to deliver to the buyer's solicitor a true copy of the solicitor's undertaking provided by the builders slash developers solicitor to discharge instrument number SC1, blah, 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 whatever. I won't go too much into those numbers, but what they were is they were, developers borrow money to finance projects. So it's usually they will drop off after 60 days. This property closed in April. So when we did the deal, they were still there. Laura pulled up the information. So basically, we want to make sure when our client took that property over that there's no mortgages attached to the property. They can see what the seller has on it and stuff like that, but they noticed that there was mortgages and amounts, large amounts. So
Right.
make sure you do an undertaking, it drops off. So I thought that was pretty good. I mean, I'm kind of glad that I put a solicitor clause in there, I didn't really care if I was putting more escapes. I just think it was the right thing to do for that type of property, and it warranted that that deal.
Well, I actually had that problem on Monday where um a deal was closing and I was representing the seller and the seller's lawyer wanted to do an undertaking to get the mortgages off within 24 to 48 hours after closing.
Yeah,
And
who's
this and the well, I don't know, you never do that.
never do that?
And the
Yeah,
buyer's lawyer wouldn't agree to it.
rightly so.
So it was like 4:30 and they were still fighting about it.
Yeah,
And then finally my seller's lawyer had to discharge everything
Mhm.
and it didn't close till like 5:30.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
But
Right,
the lawyer told my client, well, that's normal. And I said, well, it's not normal.
not normal to us because we've never seen that. That's for
No.
told me that the other day. I went, what? That's never happened.
Now, sometimes my lawyers told me, say it's 4:30 or 10 to 5 before they get the money,
Yep.
they'll come to an agreement that they'll do it the next morning at 9 a.m., but they let the deal close.
Right. Right.
So
Which,
sometimes in extenuating circumstances, you have to do it
right.
because the land registry system is closed.
Correct. Correct.
But that's not a normal occurrence. That's an emergency measure.
Absolutely. And like I said, I've never seen that. I've never, would you let your buyer close on a property with, oh yeah, we'll discharge them in a couple days? Not in your life. No,
Well,
no,
no,
no.
because exactly, because the mortgages, there's still liens. You can't change title. So people understand with an outstanding lien, any kind of lien on the property, and it can't close.
Yep.
And that's in the agreement of purchase and sale under title search and liens and mortgages, I think. And it's standard clauses. We don't even write it in.
Oh no, that's the lawyers, they're pulling title, they're seeing what's against them. They again, from my experience, I just went through, they can see everything. They can see anything that's attached. It's,
And it's got to be paid out before I take possession. Like it has to be.
yeah, you wouldn't want to be taking possession of that property. And I don't blame the buyer's lawyer saying, we're not doing this. That's not happening. I would be the same way.
I didn't blame them either.
No.
And
No.
then I went and did pictures for a new listing and got that going.
Yeah.
And noticed everybody in the neighborhood, and my clients were really good about, okay, like we have all these at the same price, but they're not selling.
So tell me some of those ones aren't selling. So, days on market, stuff like that. Why
Well,
aren't they?
they're over at 30 days. They're all in the 650 to 680 range in Angus for mid-unit townhouses, and they're just sitting. And I said, well, there's no point in going at that price because we're going to just sit with everybody else.
100%. And we're seeing a lot of that. We're seeing a lot of that before we've seen a lot of it in the higher range. Now it's spilling over to lower ranges today. Well, let's just pick this number because this 3 or 4 listings like that are the same price. So I guess that's the right price, but it's not the right price.
Well, no, not if you want to just sit there and sit there and sit there, I guess it's okay. But my clients don't want to do that.
And to that point, so if you think, well, that's the price, and so let's try it out, but then all of a sudden, okay, 80, you get 8 sellers at the same price and within the same neighborhood, and then boom, you coming in and listing your property with 629 listed for, boom,
Yeah.
should get some eyeballs. Let's face it, because you're gonna
You
go.
too, you saw it, right?
I thought the home was good. I thought it was well priced, and that's the right price point for it. It's not a 650. It's just
No.
not. We're not seeing 650 too many in Barrie at that size. So why out in Angus is it going to be 650? And this is the problem, Dan, that I keep saying. Why are agents and sellers just looking at what is listed at what price point? We got to dig deeper. And this isn't.
Well, I looked at some sales and there was a couple high ones, but my issue is I don't really care what sold 2 months ago and for what.
Market was different 2 months ago. There's no inventory, et cetera, et cetera. It was hotter.
And when there's 10 on the market that are all the same almost.
Right.
And they're all sitting there.
Yeah. No.
So the other interesting thing was when I went to a listing appointment in Innisfil.
Yep.
And 4-bedroom house, needs some updates, but a pretty big house, all brick.
Yep.
Double car garage, nice private backyard. 2 in the neighborhood, exactly the same, listed for $799.
That's too low.
And I'm like, okay, guys, like this is not normal. Like these prices aren't correct.
No.
I look at one of them yesterday. It was canceled and relisted for $839 now.
Yeah. Okay, let me ask you one question. So at the 7.9, was there any more, were they holding off on offers? What was
so one of them was withholding offers right on the listing till this Friday, till tomorrow.
Okay. And
so I told them, really, we need to see what they get. Because the other comparables that we got, like they actually had a realistic price thought in their mind before I got there, and they were correct. Like, that's what I would do too.
Yep. Yep.
But the 799 thing sitting there, I'm like, what the hell is that? Like, if they get 750, we're in trouble. Like,
Oh, yeah, for that type of property, no, that's not happening. And
in Innisfil too, like Innisfil is higher than Barrie.
but why list at 799? That's not really going to drive the attention if you, and then they raise it the next week or 5 days later for 839. Maybe try, if you're going to try go after that better that hoopla or business, why not go 699? But
Exactly.
but I think that strategy is just run its course. Let's be
But
honest.
listen, and I,
It's boring now.
they asked me about that strategy, and I told them we're not doing that strategy in this market.
Strategy right now. No.
Because if it doesn't sell, first of all, I have clients, and I was saying this to you, that were buyers that said, well, if they couldn't sell it at 799, why the hell am I going to pay over 800 now?
That's it. That's it. This doesn't make sense. Buyer and buyers aren't jumping at overpriced properties, or they're looking. I'm not going to say they're looking for deals, but they're looking for the right pricing. And there's a lot of wrong pricing in this marketplace. Let's face it. See,
And
more,
there's
more,
certainly
more,
right
more.
now, they're certainly right now not getting into bidding wars.
100%. And we had 35 terminations yesterday in relists.
I know.
It's a big number. 65 new listings. Well, it's a big number. Where are they? Oh, okay. Go back, terminate, go back over terminate. So I counted them all. Then I pulled back, and I pulled back some history on them. Oh, I'm gonna just we're on topic. I want to talk about that now because hang on 1 second. Is this the one? Nope, it's the next one. Hang on 1 second. Where I took snapshots of these, and there is one on. Of course, I probably did take the right one.
No, I noticed the same thing yesterday while you're looking for that. I thought, wow, there's a lot of new listings. And then I looked at the cancellations, and I'm like, holy shit, there was over like 35.
Well, that's it. And there was one townhouse on Passport. Okay, and I thought they tried it listing at 793, 79 in that range, reduced it. I thought I took a picture of it. I guess I didn't. And I think it's relisted now at 739. Corner, budding on the corner of Arda and Passport. If it was inside unit, it still wouldn't be a 739.
Yeah.
A townhouse should have been gone in, let's face it, 2 weeks. 2 weeks should have been gone, right? So where's that pricing? Where did that agent or seller come up with the price point? Help me out with this, because it's a mystery. Either the agents aren't doing the work, Diane, or the seller is very unrealistic and they're just going, I want to try this. This sellers, that doesn't work. Let's be honest, that's not working today in this market. It has to be priced for the market conditions the way it is today. And I think the market is a mess right now with improper pricing through a lot of categories. When we're seeing houses try 1.4, and then I pull back some more history, then went to 1.2, 1.1, now we're at $1,050,000. You've tried for 4 months. Like that 1.4 was 2022.
Yeah.
Years ago. So anyway, I'm baffled at the pricing. So on my next point about pricing, so I had a listing appointment last Thursday. Just a quick walkthrough. Tenanted property. Tenants were pretty decent. Not much just stuff to do, a little bit of paint, stuff like that. But what's the valuation? Well, here's the valuation. He goes, I'm thinking I need to be a little bit over $1 million. Yeah, you're in that range. So I went back and I said, well, I'll do a video and I'll go through some solds and we'll go through it and stuff like that. And then I'll send you over my analysis that way. Every listing, 99% of the listings were in the same kind of smaller than his, 1.98, 1.2, 1.150. I kept going, overpriced. Oh, one sold here for 992. Yeah, that's a very similar range where you should be in. You're 990 to say $1,025,000. That's the range because there's an abundance of inventory on the market. So watch the 25-minute video that I did. Great. I love the information. Transparent. Great. And by the way, take your time doing the renovation. It's just mainly cosmetic stuff. We went through all that stuff because we're coming into a quieter period. That's a family neighborhood. They've either bought for the next year or they're gonna wait till vacations are done. So I said, you know what, take the next 60 days, get it right. You have all the stuff that's in the actives in the range, go through them in detail. Look how you show, look at some presentations. There's some great presentations and then there's some bad presentations. Look at the days, so some really good information. Do you think sellers are getting that type of information today from all the agents? My answer is no, they're not.
Well, I went to Angus.
Scared to, or they're just not being upfront, or they just
I-
think about getting that listing.
I went to Angus 3 or 4 weeks ago and they asked me what they should do. So it's been 3 or 4 weeks since I first went there.
Yep.
And you saw it now. They redid some flooring, they painted. I told you, like, I didn't even need a stager because their stuff is nice.
No, it's fine. No, I thought the house showed well, they took the time to get the flooring done, the necessities.
Painted.
Right, they did this stuff, they looked at the market, what was pricing, what was wrong with the pricing, this is where it should be, and you could back that up through solds, of course, not.
And they took their time, like, they got the flooring guy me and you use, who's a lot cheaper than anybody else.
Yeah.
And they started trying to do touch up on some of the walls and the paint color didn't match, so they painted the whole rooms, like certain rooms, they just painted the whole thing.
Just do it, and it will pay off, right? Those little details will pay off, and looking at through some of these pictures that we see on listings today, they're going, why is there a laundry basket in the bedroom with just messy clothes, like just no thought? Like it just goes over their head.
Well, it's funny, they asked me, and this is a good trick for people too. So do we need to make sure that the garage is organized, because they've thrown a lot of stuff in the garage, right? I said, listen, put everything against the wall. People don't care. Okay. I mean, the one my niece bought on Pringle.
Yeah.
We could walk in the garage.
Yeah, well, that's it.
They had 3 fridges in the garage. Their garage was full of half of the stuff from their house.
Yep.
In the garage. Like, do you think we care?
Okay. No.
We don't care.
Yep. Hide it, put away, make sure it's nicely put together.
And closets. She said, Diane, I just shoved everything in the closet. I said, that's fine.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
We don't care.
No, as long as it shows that way, it's all good. Okay, I gotta fly and pick up Avery, so I gotta go, but I think this was some good information. I want to keep doing these because I just think they're valuable to viewers.
Well, and I think people have to realize some of the stuff we go through every day. It's not all pleasant, Mark.
No, it's not. But yeah, at the end of the day, we work for the clients. That's the most important things, and you just got to give that upfront, honest information.
And sometimes you got to fight with agents, and sometimes you got to complain to people.
Whatever it takes. I've done
Right?
that many times. Remember, give it a like, share, have questions, drop us a line. Any information on Simcoe County Barrie Real Estate, call us.
Perfect.
Yeah.
See ya.
Really hot day.